Are you overwhelmed by emotions and feelings? Discover 5 powerful lessons that I learned from Shyne's journey. Have you had the opportunity to watch Shyne's new documentary, The Honorable Shyne? If you haven't watched it, if you're a hip hop fan, or if you just want to hear a great story, it shows how a man can change his life. That you should never be counted out. You should never count yourself out. A lot of people like to throw around the word emotional intelligence, but there are 5 factors that come into factor when you talk about emotional intelligence. And I want to take his documentary, his life, to show you how this man, this great man, used them all to become a famous rapper that was at the top of his game, and now who is probably going to be the prime minister of Belize, who's going to be the top man in charge of a country. Self-awareness. At one point in the documentary, he was born in Belize. His mother moved to New York, left him behind with his aunt and his uncle. He stayed there, but one time he came for the summer and he never came back. So there's a point in the documentary where his one of his close friends, one of his best friends, says that, yo, Shyne was not a person you wanted to mess with. He wasn't a nice guy. One of his neighbor's houses got broken into. He seen it happening. He chased after the guy, beat the guy up. But then later after that, he was just walking in the neighborhood. Some of those same guys that he had got into it with for breaking into his neighbor's house, he seen them again. They got into it again. But this time, one of those guys pulls out a gun and shoots him. And he says himself, the only reason why he survived that is that the gun was so big that the gun shifted. So it was aimed at his, probably aimed center mass at his chest, but it shifted and hit him up in this area. So he ended up surviving. At that point, he had to decide. After, his mother seeing what he went through and seeing how his mother took it and how, hurt she was about it, he had to decide what he wanted to do with his life. He decided to go back to school and even graduated. And then after that, he got him a job as a bike messenger because he decided that wasn't the life he wanted to live no more. And that's when he started writing rap. So the self-awareness part, the 5 lessons or the 5 stages of emotional intelligence is knowing that, hey, if I keep going down this road, I was a couple inches away from dying. That's not what I want. That's not what I want to have to put my mother through. So he changed his life. So when you talk about emotional intelligence, you have to have self-awareness. You have to know the things you do, they're going to affect you and the people around you that you care about. Self-regulation. He started rapping, letting everybody know that he could rap, doing whatever he could to get his name out there. This is before the internet. This is before you could go online and upload your music to TikTok and do all. No, this was the 90s. So you physically had to go and hand somebody a CD. You had to talk to people in person. So that's what he did. He let everybody know that he could rap. And some people thought he was good, and some other people told him, you need to work on your stuff. And they told him, hey, you're not telling a story. You need to tell a story in your rap. You need, so he did that. And everybody he seen that he thought had something to do with the music industry, he would come up to him and let him know, tell him his story. So he ran into a guy who knew some people. One guy knew another guy. Eventually, he got hooked up with DJ Clark Kent, JayZ's DJ. And he was at a party JayZ was there. He was telling, I want to meet him. I want to meet him, So he got the opportunity to meet him. And what did he say to him? He asked JayZ, did he have his gun on him? And JayZ like, what, man? Do I got what's going on with him? And he was like, yo, if I'm not the dopest rapper you ever heard, you can shoot me. Gave JayZ his CD. JayZ left. As the story goes, JayZ took the CD and threw it out the window. Shyne, not knowing this, found JayZ somewhere at a recording studio and asked him, hey, what'd you think? What'd you think about my CD? And he was like, JayZ was like, yeah, it was all right. Got in his car and drove off. And he said at that moment, he said, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that it's all right. You think it's just all right? I'm going to show you. But having self-regulation, having the ability to control your emotions, knowing that, yeah, he just said my CD was all right. I don't even know if Clark Kent ever told him that JayZ just threw his CD out the window, but not taking it personal as if he dissed him, which he really did, but knowing like, yeah, okay, you think I'm just okay? You think I'm just some average rapper, that my music is just all right? No, I'm going to show you. One day I'm going to be just as big as you. And that's what he did. Having the ability to control your emotions, having the ability to not take things so personal, or not to take disappointment, to be able to handle disappointment, to meet your favorite rapper and for him to just tell you, it's okay, your music's all right, whatever. And to not take that so personal that you made it where, some people, that would happen to some people and they would want to fight. But no, he just told them, okay, I'm going to show you. That's number two. There are 5 stages of emotional intelligence, and that's showing you number 2. This young man who didn't have a father, whose father left him, ran out on him. That's number 2, self-regulation. Number 3, motivation. At some point, him, Puff Daddy, J-Lo, Puff Daddy's bodyguard was going to a club, and an altercation happened, and Shyne pulled out his gun and shot someone. But if you watch the documentary, he's not the only person. He's not the only person who shot somebody. Okay, but he's the person who got blamed for it. He got blamed for it. Diddy didn't, he used him as a scapegoat. He didn't want to have anything to do with him. It was, it made it seem like it was all his fault. So basically, after that, the record company basically wanted to drop him. Diddy didn't want nothing to do with him. Luckily, there were some people behind the scenes that were like, nah, man, you can't do that. You can't do that. They gave him a chance, to continue making his record. Because at that point, he only had the one song, Bad Boys, out. He only had the first single out. His album wasn't done. So he went in the studio and he finished the album. He finished an album and made a classic album while going on trial for attempted murder and all these other cases. Did you hear what I said? He went back in the studio and still made a classic album while on trial for this case. Every day showing up, still going to the studio, making this album when your own record label head don't believe in you, don't want nothing to do with you. You still make this album. If that's not motivation and determination, and the third element to emotional intelligence, I don't know what is, because most people couldn't do that. But he wanted to be Shyne, the star, the legend, that he wanted to be that bad that he still went out and did this without Puff Daddy's help. Number four, the number four lesson we can learn from Shyne in this documentary, The Honorable Shyne, is empathy. Empathy is the ability to understand other people's feelings. And if you watch this documentary from beginning to end, there's no way he could have made it to where he is without having some sort of empathy. When your co-defendant turns on you and makes you the scapegoat for a case that lands you 10 years in prison and 13 years of deportation. So 23 years of suffering this man had to go through for an altercation that happened at a club when he was 19 and everybody else was grown adults. His co-defendant, his label owner, who basically used him as a scapegoat, for him not to have, for him to even want to reconcile with him or to stand on stage with him or to shake his hand or to be around him, he had to have some type of empathy. For him to basically just, let go of all the beefs that he had with all these rappers, The Game, Rick Ross, and 50 Cent, all these people that called his music, said his music was whack, or even Charlemagne, the guy, all these people that was talking bad about his music. But this is the man who really did what he said in his music. All these other all the other rappers just talk about what they were going to do. He really did it, but when he really did it and had to suffer the consequences for it, he was called whacked. His music was whacked. He wasn't relevant no more. He was lame. But to be able to get over that, to get over that, and to admit, okay, yeah, my music was whack back then. To be able to understand and to take that kind of emotional letdown and to be, hey, to understand how other people feel. That's the fourth lesson I learned from him. To care about the people in his country so much that he wanted to be a politician. He didn't force it. He didn't just, okay, I'm gonna force it as a rapper. I'm just gonna force it. No. If you look at this man right now and you look at Shyne, Bad Boy, the song Bad Boy, and you look at Shyne right now, Shyne, the prime minister, Shyne. These are two different men, but this is what understanding that you have to grow, that it's okay to grow. Like one of his friends told him, man, you got so much else to offer. And the number 5 lesson I learned from him is social skills. His social skills are incredible. For him to be able to adapt, he made it, he survived in jail without getting any more charges. He was in jail with Little C's from Junior Mafia that he had beef with. They end up being friends. Minister Farrakhan said, one song from a rapper is like 10,000 sermons from a preacher. Rappers are so powerful and so important But not a lot of them understand that. Not a lot of them do this with their lives, are able to do this with their lives. So his social skills, you can see it as he works with the people in his country. But just along the way, as a 19-year-old talking to street team members, just he had a bidding war for his music without a song. He was given a $2 million deal without a song. He didn't have a song. In order to do that, because they said when he rapped, he rapped like he had already made it. You believed that he had already made it. When he rapped before people, he was so convincing that people were just throwing money at him. Those are the 5 lessons that I learned from this documentary. And if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. A lot of people throw around the word emotional intelligence. But in order to have that, you have to have self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. This man has them all. This man has them all. He has them all, and he has and some. I had a lot of respect for him. I was a fan of his, but now it's incredible. What he's done with himself is incredible, and it's motivation to other people to show them, hey man, if something happened to you, if this thing doesn't go right for you, or if this thing ends, you can always do something else. There's always something else. Your story isn't over. It hasn't ended for you. You could keep growing and just keep bettering yourself. And he's definitely done that. And I wish the best for him, and I hope that he gets what he wants. He gets what he wants. He becomes the prime minister of Belize. If you got any value from this video, man, check out the rest of our videos. Check out our playlist of all the Raising Carter podcast videos. And I'm out of here. Peace.